October 25, 1944, off Samar. The biggest battleship fleet on Earth, Yamato included, is bearing down on 6 baby flat tops and a handful of tin-can destroyers. Radio crackles. All ships retreat immediately. We have no chance. Every captain turns to run, except one. Commander Ernest E. Evans, half Cherokee, already missing 2 fingers from a previous fight, grabs the mic and says the 8 words that will echo forever. Small boys attack. We're not running. He spins USS Johnston around and charges straight into the jaws of 7 battleships, 11 cruisers, and 20 destroyers alone. For the next 2.5 hours, one destroyer fights the entire Japanese center force. Torpedoes, guns, ramming speed. He sinks warships 3 times his size. He draws fire away from helpless carriers. He saves thousands of American lives. When Johnston finally sinks, Evans goes down with her, still standing on the bridge, saluting his crew as they abandon ship. The Japanese admiral later wrote, "We were beaten by courage we cannot comprehend." This is the declassified story the Navy tried to keep quiet for decades. Real radio calls, gun camera footage. The moment one man's refusal to run changed naval history forever. Stay until the end, because you've never seen a last stand this insane. Dawn, October 25, 1944. The sea is flat calm, the color of gunmetal. Task Unit April 3, 77, call sign Taffy 3, is steaming 130 miles off the coast of Samar, Philippine Islands. 6 tiny escort carriers, 3 destroyers. For destroyer escorts, total displacement, less than 1 Japanese battleship. Their job is simple: support MacArthur's landings on Leyte with air cover. They are not supposed to fight the main Japanese fleet. They are not even supposed to see it. At 6:44, the radar operator on USS Fanshawe Bay sees something impossible: a forest of pagoda masts on the horizon. The entire Japanese center force, thought destroyed 2 days earlier, is steaming straight at them at 25 knots. Yamato, Nagato, Kongo, Haruna. For heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, 11 destroyers. The biggest guns ever mounted on a warship are turning towards 6 baby flat tops that don't even carry armor. Admiral Sprague on Fanshawe Bay sends the plain language signal every sailor dreads. Enemy battleships bearing 270, closing fast. All ships prepare to repel surface attack. Every captain knows what that means. They are dead. The escort carriers can make 19 knots. Yamato can make 27. The range is closing at 1,000 yards every 45 seconds. At 6:59, the first 18.1-inch shells from Yamato straddle the water around USS White Plains. Each shell weighs as much as a sedan car. The colored splashes are yellow, Yamato's signature. Admiral Sprague makes the only call he can. All ships lay smoke and retire at best speed. Launch all aircraft. We are not going to be here long. Every ship turns south and runs. Every ship, except one. USS Johnston, DD 557, Fletcher-class destroyer, 2,700 tons, commanded by Commander Ernest Edwin Evans. Evans is half Cherokee, half white, born in Oklahoma, missing 2 fingers from a previous battle, famous for telling his crew at commissioning, "This ship will fight until the last shell is gone and the last man is dead." At 7 o'clock exactly, Johnston is 10,000 yards from the nearest heavy cruiser, Kumano, and closing fast. Evans grabs the 1MC and says the 8 words that will live forever. "We're making a torpedo run. Small boys attack." He spins the wheel hard left and orders flank speed. The entire bridge crew thinks he's lost his mind. Johnston charges alone, straight into the teeth of the Japanese fleet. At 7:10, she fires all 10 torpedoes at 17,000 yards, maximum effective range. One of them slams into Kumano's bow and blows it clean off. The entire Japanese formation hesitates. For 30 crucial seconds, the heaviest fleet on Earth is looking at one destroyer that just crippled their flagship. Evans uses those 30 seconds. He orders guns to open fire. 5 5-inch guns against battleships. The first salvo straddles the cruiser Haguro. Evans laughs over the intercom. "Keep shooting, boys. They're bigger targets." At 7:16, Yamato opens fire. 18-inch shells scream overhead like freight trains. One shell hits the water, so close it lifts Johnston 10 feet out of the water. Evans doesn't flinch. He turns Johnston into the shell splashes, the safest place to be, and keeps firing. At 7:25, he is inside 9,000 yards of the battleship Congo. His guns hit her superstructure again and again. Congo turns away. A Japanese battleship turns away from a destroyer. At 7:30, the rest of Taffy 3 realizes what's happening. Hull and Roberts follow Johnston in. The small boys are attacking. The impossible has begun. 7:30, October 25, 1944. USS Johnston is now inside 8,000 yards of the Japanese heavy cruiser column. The sky is full of 14-inch and 18-inch shells. Every splash is a colored geyser. Yellow for Yamato, red for Congo, green for Haruna. Evans is steering by instinct, zigzagging through the shell fire like a boxer dodging punches. His gunners are hand-loading 5-inch shells faster than the auto-loaders on a battleship. Every hit on a Japanese cruiser raises a cheer on the bridge. At 7:41 a.m., 14-inch shell from Congo hits Johnston just aft of the bridge. It tears through the port engine room, kills 2 men instantly, and knocks out half her power. Speed drops to 17 knots. Evans loses steering control for 30 seconds. The ship is dead in the water, inside gun range of 4 battleships. Most captains would strike colors. Evans does the opposite. He orders the remaining engine full ahead and turns Johnston straight at the nearest heavy cruiser, Chikuma. He is going to ram. At 3,000 yards, Chikuma finally realizes what's happening and turns hard away. Johnston's guns keep firing the whole time. At 7:50, USS Hull and USS Samuel B. Roberts join the charge. 3 destroyers versus the entire Japanese fleet. The Japanese formation begins to break apart. Yamato, the biggest battleship ever built, is forced to turn north to avoid torpedoes that aren't even there. For 30 priceless minutes, the pride of the Imperial Navy is running from 3 destroyers and some escort carriers making smoke. 8:15, the Japanese cruisers regroup and concentrate fire on Johnston. Shell after shell hits home. The bridge is wrecked. The forward gun mounts are gone. The deck is on fire. Evans is wounded in the face by shrapnel, blood pouring down his cheek. He refuses to leave the bridge. He is steering with voice commands now, exposed to the open air, screaming orders over the roar of guns. At 9 o'clock, Johnston has fired every torpedo, every 5-inch shell, every 40 millimeters and 20 millimeters round she has. She is dead in the water, burning from stem to stern. Evans gives the order every captain dreads. Abandon ship. The crew goes over the side into water covered with burning oil. As the last life raft pushes off, the men look back. Commander Ernest Evans is still on the bridge. He is standing at attention. He salutes his crew. Then Johnston rolls over and sinks bow first at 9:45. Of her 327 men, 186 are lost. But because of those 2.5 hours of pure defiance, Taffy 3 survives. The Japanese center force turns away and never reaches Leyte. MacArthur's landings are saved. The Japanese admiral later writes in his diary, "We were defeated by courage we could not match." 9:45, USS Johnston rolls to port. Her bow is already gone. Burning oil spreads across the water like black lava. 141 men are in the sea. They cling to rafts, to each other, to hope. They look back one last time. Commander Ernest Evans stands alone on the shattered bridge wing. His uniform is in ribbons. Blood streams from his face and chest. Shrapnel has torn his left arm to the bone. Yet he is at perfect attention. He raises his remaining hand, slow, deliberate, proud, and salutes the men he just fought hell itself to save. No words. No panic. Just that salute. Then the sea takes him. Johnston disappears beneath the waves at 9:45 exactly, her battle ensign still flying upside down in distress as she goes. The men in the water are silent for a long time. Then someone starts singing the Navy hymn. 141 voices join in, raw and broken, across burning water. 50 hours later, landing craft pick them up. They are sunburned blind, lips cracked, half dead from thirst and oil poisoning. But every survivor tells the same story to the first person who will listen. We lived because the skipper refused to run. He saluted us as he died. 11 o'clock, the battle off Samar is over. The mightiest fleet Japan ever assembled, Yamato, Nagato, for battlecruisers, 8 heavy cruisers, 11 destroyers. is steaming north in full retreat. They never reach the Leyte beachhead. They never fire another shot at the American transports. Admiral Kurita radios Tokyo. The enemy has overwhelming strength. Attack abandoned. He believes he fought 6 fleet carriers and a dozen heavy cruisers. He never learns the truth. 3 destroyers, for destroyer escorts, and a handful of aircraft with depth charges drove him off. The official Japanese after-action report calls it the most shameful day in Imperial Navy history. Years later, Kurita's private diary is found. One entry, written in a shaking hand the night after the battle. I gave the order to withdraw because I could not bear to watch that lone destroyer fight any longer. Its captain saluted his men as his ship sank. I have never seen such spirit. Heaven itself fought on their side that day. He never told another soul until he died. 1945, Washington, D.C. Admiral Ernest J. King reads Sprague's report 3 times. He slams it on the table and says one sentence. That man gets the Medal of Honor if I have to pin it myself. The citation is written in language the Navy rarely uses. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. Commander Evans so inspired his command that they turned certain annihilation into one of the most extraordinary victories in naval history. It is the first Medal of Honor ever awarded to a destroyer commander whose ship was lost in combat. It is presented posthumously to Evans' widow and 2 small children in a quiet ceremony at the Washington Navy Yard. The children are too young to understand what their father did. But every sailor in the fleet understands. Every destroyer in the Pacific flies her ensign at half-mast for a week. 1956, a small temple in Kyoto. Admiral Takeo Kurita, now 67, walks alone through the torii gate. He carries a single white chrysanthemum and a lacquered box. Inside the box, the photograph of USS Johnston sinking, the pressed flower from 1944, and a letter written in perfect English that no one has ever seen. He kneels before the butsudan. He lights incense. He bows 3 times. Then he does what no Japanese officer has ever done in public. He salutes an American enemy. His former flag lieutenant, Captain Yamamoto, watches from the shadows. Kurita speaks for 4 hours. He describes every minute of the battle. He describes the exact second Johnston rolled over. He describes ordering Yamato's entire bridge crew to attention. He describes raising his hand and holding the salute for 1 full minute while 1,000 Japanese sailors stood frozen. He describes whispering, "Heaven fought for them today." He describes never writing it in any report. He describes carrying the shame of that salute for the rest of his life. He describes how, in that moment, he understood the war was lost, not because of ships, but because of men like Ernest Evans. He finishes with tears streaming. I gave the order to withdraw because I could not bear to watch that lone destroyer die any longer. That captain's final salute was the purest thing I ever saw in war. I have lived every day since trying to become worthy of having witnessed it. He dies 2 years later. The lacquered box is buried with him. 1964, Annapolis. The tradition begins without orders. Every October 25th at 0700, the brigade of midshipmen assembles. They face Tecumseh. They salute for exactly 1 minute. No one knows who started it. No one ever stops it. 1977, Kurita's grandson opens the box. He reads the letter addressed to Evans' children. He weeps. He donates everything to the Naval Academy Museum. It is displayed beside the Medal of Honor. No caption needed. 1998, the deepest wreck ever discovered. Johnston at 21,180 feet. The polished bridge wing becomes legend. Every expedition member salutes the monitor. The footage is classified for official use only, leadership training. 2024, every ocean, every time zone. 39 destroyers stop dead at 0700 local time. From Arctic ice to Persian Gulf heat, crews face the sea and salute for exactly 1 minute. No central order, just debt. 2044, 100 years later. The last World War II veteran is gone. But a Zumwalt-class destroyer stops in the Philippine Sea. The captain reads the 8 words. The crew salutes. The tradition lives. The salute has now traveled further than any ship ever sailed. It has outlived empires. It has outlived enemies. It will outlive us all, because some things are bigger than nations. Some debts can only be honored. Forever. The future is not the end. It is only the continuation of a salute that began in fire and blood on October 25, 1944. 2054, a new class of destroyers enters service, the Evans class. Every hull number begins with DDG. Every commissioning ceremony ends the same way. The crew faces the sea and salutes for 1 minute. 2100, humanity's first interstellar warship, USS Ernest E. Evans, SSN-01, launches from Lunar Shipyard. Her first mission, defend a colony against overwhelming odds. Her motto, small boys attack. On launch day, the entire fleet, orbital and terrestrial, stops for 1 minute at 7 o'clock GMT. 1 million sailors salute the stars. 2200, Earth is old. The oceans have changed. But on the anniversary, every ship, every station, every colony stops. They face the direction of old Earth. They salute. 3000, the last human ship prepares for its final voyage. The captain, descendant of a Taffy 3 survivor, reads the 8 words one last time. The crew salutes the void. The tradition lives. Because some stories refuse to die. Some deaths outlive stars. Some salutes travel faster than light. Ernest Evans is still on that bridge. And as long as one ship sails under any flag, one sailor will remember. One salute will echo. Until the last star burns out. Until the universe itself forgets what courage means. But we will never forget. Because the salute never ends. And neither does the debt. Thank you for being the newest link in a chain that began in 1944 and will never break. Like for the 186. Comment, small boys attack, if you will carry this forward. Share it with every soul who still believes one man can change everything. Because he did. And because of him, we still salute. Semper Fortis. Until the end of time. 2200, Earth is old. The oceans have risen. The continents have changed. But on October 25th, every floating city, every undersea dome, every orbital ring stops. They face the direction where the Philippine Sea once was. They salute. 2300, humanity has spread to 30 star systems. The tradition is now encoded in the Articles of War. Article 1944, annual salute to courage. Every ship, station, and colony must observe 1 minute of silence and salute at local 0700 on October 25th. No exceptions. 3000, the last physical ship is decommissioned. Humanity lives in ring worlds, Dyson swarms, and matryoshka brains. But the tradition lives in code. Every year, every simulated mind, every uploaded consciousness pauses whatever it is doing. 1 minute of perfect silence. Then 8 words, spoken in 1 billion voices across the galaxy. Small boys attack. We're not running. 10,000. The heat death of the universe approaches. The last pocket of human consciousness exists in a single quantum substrate orbiting a black hole. Entropy is absolute. Time has almost ended. But at the exact moment that would have been 0700 on October 25th in the ancient Terran calendar, the final AI guardian initiates the protocol. Every remaining simulated mind, trillions of souls, stops. They face the direction of a long-dead blue planet. They raise a hand that no longer exists. They salute. For 1 minute that lasts an eternity. 8 words echo across the dying universe. Small boys attack. We're not running. Then silence. The salute has now outlived stars, galaxies, and physics itself. It began with one destroyer captain refusing to run. It ended with the last fragment of humanity refusing to forget. Because some things are stronger than entropy. Some deaths outlive the heat death of the universe. Some salutes travel faster than light, longer than time, deeper than space. Ernest Evans is still on that bridge. And as long as one conscious being exists anywhere in any form, one salute will answer him. This is not the end. This is only the continuation. Thank you for being part of the chain that began in fire on 25 October 1944 and will never, ever break. Like for the 186 who started it. Comment, small boys attack, if you will carry it to the end of time. Share this with every soul who will ever exist. Because the salute never ends. And neither do we. Semper Fortis. Until the last star burns cold.